Well, good evening. Om Swastiastu. The Honorable, the lecturer, Dr. Dewarat, and thank you so much for the time that given to me. In this evening, I would like to presentate my proposal under the title The Implementation of Drill Method in Improving Intellectual Disability Students' Vocabulary Mastery in PKBM Widagupta. Well, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Kadek Dwi Darmaniti, and my student's number is 201117106 and 0. Alright, so the first is the introduction. The background of the study. Well, so here the researchers are focusing on the learning problem in a class of intellectual disability students. So here, a vocabulary is really necessary in learning a language. It's also happen in learning English. So vocabulary is the basic things that the students have to build the skills. And then here, the researchers conducted observation and also preliminary tests on the students with intellectual disability. The observation was conducted for 45 minutes in a classroom of students with intellectual disability. So here the researchers joined the class and observed the learning process. Based on the researcher observations, students with intellectual disability are having difficulties in memorizing the things that the teacher have taught. They also cannot read truly fluently and still trying to remember the vocabulary that they have learned. And then this is also validated by the preliminary test. The researcher conducted a preliminary test which are based on the curriculum that they get in the school, which is tested their action vocabulary in procedure text. So based on the observation and the preliminary test, the researcher found out that the students were lack of vocabulary, and the score also are under the completion minimum criteria. So from that, the researcher do the literature review. So based on other research which face the same challenge, the researchers take a solution which is its drill method. So from that, the researcher will do the classroom action research. Well, so here is the preliminary output, which with the name and also total score. If we see over there, the score truly low. It's based on the classification and also frequency. Based on the curriculum of 2013, the criterion minimum is 75. So 10% of students pass it, and the rest, which is 90% of students, do not pass it. So based on several solutions the other researchers found out, so they found similar solution, which is by doing repeating or drill method. Alright, so the next one is the conceptual framework. So here is the first is the title, which is the implementation of drill method in improving intellectual disability students' vocabulary mastery in PKBM Widagupta. After that, the researcher conducted literature review, and then after that, the researchers do observations and also validated by preliminary tests. So the result showed only 1 of 10 students got score upper the criterion completion criteria. The students are still like in English of action verb, vocabulary, which showed by 3 students got 20 score from 100. After that, the researchers will conduct classroom action research to solve the problem, which the cycle 1, which is contained of planning, actions, observing, and reflecting. After do the cycle, there will be 2 criteria, which is success or not success. The success one, if 70% or 7 students achieve the criterion completion minimum, and if the lower score of the students increase at least 20 points, so the research will stop. But if the students got less than 70% or 7 students achieve the criterion completions minimum, and if the lower score of students do not increase at least 20 points, so the research will continue by conduct the cycle 2, which is revise the cycle 1. Well, the next is research methodology. So here is the research design based on Chemist et al. 2014. Here's the cycle of classroom action research. You can see at the picture, which is the first is the cycle 1. The researcher will conduct the plan and then do it by action in the classroom, and then the researcher will observe while they do it. After that, do the reflex. If the reflex don't meet the success criteria, the researcher will conduct the cycle 2, which is revise the plan and then do the action again, observe, and also reflex until find the success criteria. And then to conduct this, the researcher will use the step of Weber 1969, which is the syntax are the first teacher briefly read and the word or the sentence in a text, and then the student listen attentively while the teacher reads the word or the sentence, and then the students repeat and memorize what the teacher read. Then the repetition is continued independently. The teacher uses the other form of sentences and the students repeat them. Well, the place and time for the research. The place will be at PKBM Widya Gupta. Well, so PKBM Widya Gupta is one of non-formal school in Gianyar Regency, which is also inclusive school, which contain with students with disability, like intellectual disability. And then for the time, the research will conduct on the second semester of academic year of 2023 and 2024. Well, the research subjects are 10 students in mid-grade with intellectual disabilities in PKBM Widya Gupta, which they are 3 males and also 7 females. There are 2 research success criteria over here. The first is if the students reach the minimum score, which is 75 points. And then the second is if the lower score of the students increases at least 20 points. And then how the research collect the data. Here, the first is by doing the observations and then validating by preliminary tests, and then the research will do the classroom action research while observing it, and then the last is conducting by post-test. Well, so the data analysis will be in descriptively using the percentage success formula as follows, which is the total of all past students divided by the number of students, and then that score we will times it 100. Well, so that's all for the proposal presentations. I do apologize if there's a mistake, and thank you so much. Om Santi 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 Om.